Good afternoon, morning, evening, or night, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about Top Gun Maverick. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, James, and I, Jamie. And today, we're going to talk about...
Tom Cruise, run, run, run. Tom Cruise, run.
The next installment in Tom Cruise's biography.
Yeah, the sequel to the cringe fest that
was the original Top Gun.
The original Top Gun. Even though neither of us have ever seen it.
I've seen the original Top Gun.
You've seen it?
I've seen it when I was like a kid. So I didn't really take it in because it was just, wow, planes.
You didn't read the gay subtext?
Yeah, I didn't read the gay subtext. If I did, I probably would have gone gayer quicker.
Yeah. But, I mean, that being said, if we're going to jump right into it, Top Gun Maverick, again, I haven't seen the original, but it's still pretty gay.
It manages to recapture the gayness of the original, but without making it gay. So it does it in a way where it makes sense. And it's done well. I like the gay in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, it's a perfect recapturing of the late 80s, early 90s inherent gayness that was just in the air at the time.
It was a love of like masculinity and seeing topless men doing topless
strong
men things.
Not even just like muscular people doing epic shit.
Throwing footballs and...
Yeah, throwing footballs, playing two-way football and then getting like all sloppy and wet and rubbing each other's bodies on each other and stuff. And the thing is, this movie is a sequel to a movie I never want to see. I
don't blame you, because after seeing this, why would you want to watch the original?
Yeah, it's bound to be worse in every way.
Yeah, 100%, because Top Gun Maverick does planes really well. It captures that plane excitement.
Yeah,
really well.
the like, I think this movie it does for planes what Mad Max does for cars.
Yeah, I completely see that, and I can completely agree, because when I was watching it, there's a lot of parts of the movie that call back to like Ace Combat. Just like the big like arcade fighter jet game that is just bombastic, camp, and silly. So it recaptures a lot of that, and that's kind of why that was like my entry point into that kind of genre. And it's all, when I was watching Top Gun, the only thing I was thinking of was just like this. I just want to play Ace Combat.
Yeah, because the action scenes in this movie are so good.
They're fucking cool as shit. They're really cool.
They're really badass, and like it's like filling a gap in cinema where like we've seen so much like car chase.
Yeah, like every action movie has the car chase, and they try to one up each other, and then Mad Max comes along and just sets the bar so high that you can't really reach it. And Top Gun does this for planes.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like there's so much untapped potential, and not to say I want to see like 1,000 plane movies.
I think the thing is, plane movies are really difficult to actually do well, because you either rely super heavily on CG, and it's like there's been a lot of like World War II plane movies recently where they focused a lot on the CG, and they just doesn't have that same impact. But one of the great things about Top Gun Maverick is all of the scenes with the jets are scenes they're real jet that are actually flying them.
Yeah, bar like the ones that like blow up and stuff. It all, at least to my eye, just looks like totally real. Yeah, and like, even from inside the cockpit, when you see Tom Cruise flying around and doing all this wacky stuff, you know he can't be in a jet. Yeah, going this fast and swinging about all over the place. But it's done in such a way where you totally believe it.
Yeah, because the planes that were used for the main Tom Cruise like scenes were the planes the squadron were in, where there was one on the front, one on the back. So that Tom Cruise was in the back of that one while an actual fighter pilot was flying it. But if you didn't know that, you wouldn't have thought that.
Is that how they filmed it?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Because by military law, you can't have an actor flying military equipment. But I only know that because I'm into planes and I read about planes. So I was just like, oh, that's just how they did it in Top Gun Maverick.
That's so cool. That's such a genius way of doing it. So
when they're doing all the, like, through the mountains and whatnot, and that you had the view of Tom Cruise, he was in the back, but that plane was doing those to make it as believable as possible. And if you didn't know that, you wouldn't have thought it, because they pulled it off well.
Yeah, and it looks like he's flying it. Like,
yeah,
I feel like Tom Cruise is the last, like, cinema star in that sort of 80s way. You know, I don't see other, like, action heroes like Captain America and all the Marvel guys and Spider-Man and shit. None of them are pushing for, like, more grounded, and doing, like, as much in reality as possible, because, like, as good as the effects and everything can get, which is pretty damn good, your brain just knows.
And that's the thing. And the best reference point for this is Mission Impossible, when he's hanging off the side of the plane. Because he's hanging off the side of a plane.
Yeah, you can, like, feel it. There's so many little details that you just can't account for.
With CG.
Yeah. And even though, like, Tom Cruise was hanging off a plane, but strapped to the plane.
Yeah.
So they CG out the straps.
But they're not.
But he's hanging off a plane.
Off a plane. Yeah.
So that's, like, the parts that matter. And seeing this stuff, even though, like, artistically, I didn't walk out of Top Gun and think, this really made me think about these themes and stuff. It's just, like, a really effective story that gets you invested through the grounded nature of the bombastic action scenes. Because
basically the main storyline of this is Tom Cruise being Maverick is like he's the he's the outlaw almost of the,
he's like the lone wolf.
Yeah, he's the Maverick. He's just like the crazy guy. He just doesn't want to go through the rigmatic of the, like, Navy progression, and instead wants to just do.
He wants to fly planes.
Yeah. So the story is that he's been called back to the Top Gun Academy to train the best pilots to do, like, a crazy, basically suicide mission, and he's got to do it within a certain date. And one of the top recruits is the son of his co-pilot in the original movies.
Goose.
And Goose and
Rooster is the son of Goose.
And I feel that it doesn't feel like, for someone who hasn't watched Top Gun in 10 years, it made sense. And it didn't feel like it was forced at all. It's like a really natural kind of progression for his character, and it just felt good. Yeah. Like the fatherhood figure that Tom Cruise was to Rooster.
Yeah, I think in terms of basic storytelling, like, they designed this movie in a way where you just don't need to watch the original.
Yeah, you really don't.
With the implementation of a few flashbacks and some simplistic, like, camera work that's, like, showing pictures and how it shows Goose's kid sat on the piano or whatever in the picture, and then it immediately cuts to Miles Teller.
Yeah.
And it just, like, tells your brain, like, oh, that's them.
Yeah.
You know? And
it's clearly throwbacking to the original movie quite a bit, because of the motorbike scenes. That's just a scene from the original movie.
Yeah.
But I like that, because it's like, it's been 40 years. So I'm, like, okay with having, like, similar imagery, because it does bring back, like, that literally was my childhood when I was in the 80s or whatnot.
Yeah, and seeing Tom Cruise ride a motorbike is kind of entertaining, no matter.
Yeah, he's riding the fastest motorbike ever made with no helmet on. That's literally, like, if he slides off, he could die. It's like it's just Tom Cruise. It's great. And the story, like, I think is super basic. It takes a lot of inspiration from Ace Combat. The setting is literally just an Ace Combat mission. You can play Ace Combat 7 and do that mission, where you've got to fly between canyons within time. But it's like, it has stakes. And it's like Tom Cruise are teaching these recruits that, you know, they've got to do this and they've got to be perfect, otherwise they can kill their squad mates. They might not come home. And that development of the characters, having that, and then seeing Tom Cruise do better. Because during a point in the movie, he basically gets kicked out of the academy. Because, spoiler, Iceman passes away in the film.
Yeah, so he doesn't have anyone to cover his back.
Yeah, because basically him doing his crazy stuff would always get him like
kicked out,
punished, and Iceman would always be like, "No, you bring him back." So then Tom Cruise basically proves to the recruits and the Navy that he can do this, and it's like a nice.
I think from that moment in the story onwards, it's just like the pace really kicks up, because it's the earlier stuff in the movie is like major corny 80s 90s. This is what I mean about Tom Cruise. Like, he captures that essence of cinema, where it's like they don't care how corny and unrealistic it is. They're still taking it seriously.
Yeah.
You don't get that in the Marvel movies.
No,
and
not at all.
And that sort of tier of movie. It's always got to be like, wow, this situation that we're in is like just crazy, right? It could never happen. It's like, well, yeah, and now you're telling me that. So in the world of this movie, you're aware that it's like not right. But in the imaginary world of Top Gun, where they have that bell in the bar, like, that is such a stupid concept.
Yeah, you pay for everyone's tab, and there's like 500 people in the pub. Like...
And then you can't pay it, so they just throw you out, and that's the end of the tab. So you're just giving out free alcohol every day. It's like, that's it doesn't make sense. Like, but you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because it's this fantasy world that's all about planes.
Yeah, it's just all about planes.
And a boat as well.
Yeah, but I don't know that. I imagine it's just like they're trying to bridge the relationship development between Tom Cruise and Penny.
Yeah, that sounds right. Which I think works.
It works.
It's
reconnecting their bond, which is obviously they've had in the original movie, and it's doing it in a way that's like a bit wholesome. It's a bit like, oh, they're going on a boat. They're going on a bike.
It's cute.
Yeah.
You know,
who doesn't want to go on a bike with, the love of your life?
If Tom Cruise like pulled up to my house on that bike, I'd be like, don't look at me like that, Tom. I'm jumping on. You know,
it is. I feel like the whole movie in general is like a love letter. So just like kind of,
it's a love letter to like that type of movie.
Yeah.
Like old school action movies, and Tom Cruise has been doing this with the Mission Impossibles,
and that's why they are so good.
Yeah. And it's not just about the effects, it's about how seriously the actors take it, and they don't phone it in. It's not these quips all the time. There's like jokes and stuff.
No, that's a thing. And it's an example of Mission Impossible, because Mission Impossible has some really funny moments. But it's not like that Marvel kind of one-liner funny, oh, I'm saying thing. It's just like... Yeah.
It's like a slightly comedic situation.
Yeah.
But when the stakes are high, it's like no one's joking.
Yeah.
You know, like when Tom Cruise is flying the helicopter in Mission Impossible, or when he's flying the jet in Top Gun, it's like the stakes are high, and you feel that because the characters are taking it seriously.
Yeah. It's like Gears of War. It has charm when it's taking itself very seriously.
Yeah.
So even if you make jokes, it's still serious and it works.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's like the bit towards the end that basically two of the main characters, obviously one being Tom Cruise, end up out of their planes.
Yeah.
And I was quite worried that they were going to go and make them like badass on the ground, like fighting an army and gunning dudes down and stuff.
Yeah, because they get after completing the main objective, Tom Cruise saves Rooster. Yeah. That's like a callback to his dad.
Yeah, his failure with his dad.
So he wants to make up for that. So he risks himself doing a fucking bull crap, insane move of flying above and then doing flares.
It's really badass the way it's shot and everything. You've got the perspective of Rooster and he's going over him. It's so cool. And then Rooster saves Maverick, and they're on the ground, and they're like, "Shit, what?"
I like that it's not just there's not like a funny reunion. Tom Cruise is like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah,
I was saving your life.
No,
that's serious. That was at that moment it could have gone into like a really corny kind of lame, like, oh, I love you though. It's just like, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
and it's that seriousness because they've just been shot down and they're in enemy territory.
And that scene is comedic, but like after the high tension of everything else, like it works that they don't push it too far.
Yeah,
and then Rooster's just like we're fucked. And Maverick's like, no, let's just try some shit. And
it's a Tom Cruise doing Tom Cruise shit.
Yeah, just running through a woods and flying a plane and shit. And I was worried at that point it was going to turn into some more like generic action, but
yeah, no, but I like the fact that they know they're pathetic on the ground. They're like,
yeah. The first thing they do is just find another plane, get in it, and then give us more like badass plane flying, and then the tension raises even higher
because that whole scene is a callback to the original movie because they're in an F-14 Tomcat, which is just the jets on the first one. Yeah. Which is a nice, like, Tom Cruise knows how to fly that.
Yeah.
But they set that up in the fact that...
Yeah, so early on, and it's, like, such an offhand comment.
So they have old F-14. If you don't know plane language, how would you know that plane from the first one's an F-14? Yeah. I know that because I was playing Ace Combat. And so they set that up so it makes sense, and it's natural.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, again, as corny as it is, like, on the surface... And it's obviously written into the script to be an homage. It's not so heavy-handed where they have like a moment where Tom Cruise rips the tarpaulin off the jet and there's like a little ditty. Yeah. It's like they just climb into the jet and fly.
They just like fill it fuel like before they fucking see us. Like and they show the lane pulling the fuel out and it's like it makes sense. It builds the tension.
Yeah, and that part's exciting. It's like
because it's its own set piece. So it's just like if they fuck up, they're on the ground with loads of soldiers.
They could have done some like the Force Awakens shit when Han Solo gets back on the Millennium Falcon, and he's like, "Chewbacca, we're home now." There's none of that bullshit where and then there's a little ditty of music. It's just
like, no, we're flying, we're getting out of here.
Yeah.
And when they take off, there's a little cool bit where he's got to take off on a taxiway, and it gets up, and then it's like, oh, the 6th generation fighters have like noticed them. And obviously the F-14s are 4th generation or 4th generation fighters. It's like in terms of progression, we're talking 40 years of scientific innovation. Outclassed. But it's like those jets the 6th generation jets are real jets and they're super hyper advanced. So it's like, it's that Tom Cruise knows. It's like, you cannot, and they prove it, you can't win a fight against that generation of fighter. But they like, it's about the pilot. So it does that corny bit.
Yeah.
And it just looks sick. Tom Cruise is sick. Because I like the fact that when they do like these crazy maneuvers where they're pulling like left and it's that you can feel the G and it's like you can instantly tell it's like, so smooth in the transitions from seeing Tom Cruise pull the rudder, I guess might be the right term, and then seeing on the outside perspective.
Yeah, and like it's little subtle things like when Tom Cruise is taking off from the fucking airstrip on the boat.
Yeah.
And like he juts forward.
Yeah.
When it takes
off. It shows weight.
It's
like in a game.
Like this tactile feeling in the movie and all the sound effects and everything.
Which is really evident in when he's training the aces, not aces, but the top recruits. And you can feel the weight when he's flying around them, and when they're like, because you're doing that when you're banking from left to right really quickly, and you can feel that weight, and that's what makes every scene even more believable because that's not fake weight, that's real weight because they're in the fucking planes.
Yeah, and it's again, it all comes back to this tension building thing, and I don't know how much input Tom Cruise has on these films, but
I think he has a fair bit.
Yeah, I think he does.
Because he's a pilot. He had.
Yeah.
It's in the scene in the ending. He's basically flying his P-51 Mustang D. That's his plane.
Yeah,
he's flying.
Right.
That.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think he has a certain amount of like creative influence.
But when it comes down to like the structure of the movie, you look at the structure of Mission Impossible, and it's just this like drip feeding of tension, but every drip is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So every drip you get, it's this escalation that
that movie
other films don't really capture. But these Tom Cruise films, he's like figured it out. He's like figured out this algorithm to make just incredible action.
Because it's like, it starts with the Mach 10 with the Black Star.
Yeah.
Then it's like the motorbike stuff, which is cool. Then it's the dogfight training. And then it's the practice for the canyon one. And then it is the canyon one. And it's evading the SAMs. And then they get shot down.
That scene with the SAMs when they've come out of the mountain. And like the way they show the chaos and everything. And they're all just like screaming.
But that's the thing. They've all been... Tom Cruise, like in the whole first half of this movie, was just like, if you fuck up, the SAMs will destroy you. So when they're actually facing the SAMs, you hear the overlapping of all their comms where they're communicating.
Yeah.
Because they made a whole point in the first half of like, if you don't communicate, you'll kill your team. So then you hear them all communicating, overlapping, and that's like.
But it's getting like more strained and more, and the music's picking up, dude.
The music and the SAM noises and the missile noises
and the of like the lock-on sound is,
which is just like generally it is Ace. If you want to experience that, play Ace Combat because Ace Combat does that.
This is Ace Combat the movie.
No, it generally is, and I think if you want to enjoy, if you've watched Top Gun Maverick, and you have like an itch, play Ace Combat 7 because it does the same shit and it is as epic. It's like the music whips up and it's like incredible. But the whole main part of it is when after meeting the 6th generation fighters, he's now got a dogfight one of them, and it's like a one-on-one, and you see the moves where he's like pulls up and then goes back and then back onto it, and this 6th generation fighter pulls back, does like a fucking barrel roll midair, comes back behind him, and it's just like it's menacing. It's like Darth Vader in his fucking Star Destroyer.
It is straight up Darth Vader. Like when they're showing the cockpit view, and he's like black. Yeah, the black helmet.
It's menacing. It's like this guy's gonna kill you. He's actually going to kill you, and it's like Tom Cruise. It's the panic, and it's Tom Cruise is trying to shoot him down, and the ammo's going down, and it's like I'm getting tense.
And they're showing how much ammo and everything. Like they bombard you with so much information, but it just the perfect dosage. So all of this stuff is going in, but none of it is like leaving your brain. Yeah,
it's like building. It's just building, and it's just that whole scene is just sick because it's all the maneuvers they're doing are real. Yeah, you can do these maneuvers in planes.
You could go out your house, go find a plane, and just do this shit right now.
You can do fucking half-wind stalls and shit.
That's the lesson of the movie. The only thing with this movie that's been on my mind is like how much of this is like propaganda. For the American military.
If I was like 6 and I saw this, I'm like, I'm flying
I saw this at the age of 25 and I'm like, might join the RAF. Like,
I'm flying jets.
Badass.
It is fucking so cool. And I had a dream when I was a kid that it's like fighter jets. I want to be a fighter jet. To me, that's freedom. Nobody has more freedom than someone who can literally turn and do anything in the sky. That's like
it's like
romantic.
It is. It totally is.
It's super romantic. And this movie is just like that.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah. So maybe it's almost the opposite of propaganda because like now you don't have to go be in a jet to get that experience. You can just watch Top Gun.
Yeah.
You can get like the same feeling. But that's how visceral this movie is. It's not like 5 out of 5 perfect movie.
No.
But I can forgive all of its like corniness and shortcomings and like that bar scene, like it's just silly nonsense.
Yeah, but it's just trying to introduce Tom Cruise to the character.
Yeah, it's charming enough where I don't care, and I'm just happy that I'm invested in a Top Gun movie.
Yeah, of all things, a Top Gun movie.
Yeah, it's bonkers, man.
And basically the whole ending scene is like blah blah blah. Tom Cruise survives. They go out into the water, and then it's like there's another jet, and it's just like I had the tension peak where I was just like, no, they're not going to get shot down because that's reminiscent of the first movie, and it's like I'm now worried for Rooster. And then obviously Hangman comes out the day, and it's like it's just a save the day. But I like
it's like a redemption for a character who's just an asshole,
a twat.
That's another like 80s 90s movie classic thing. Just have a character that's just a major
dickhead
for no reason.
He's just a cocky asshole. Little shit.
He's got no backstory. He's just a prick.
Yeah, a fucking
and that's his character. And then at the end, you're like, you know what? He's all right because at the end of the day, he's got his bros back.
No, but I think that they're trying to mimic the Iceman Maverick relationship from the first one because they were obviously like they were super competitive.
Yeah.
Because they were both really good, and I like the fact that Rooster was like the best on one. Him and Hangman were like the best on the new recruits. Yeah. He mimicked that, but it didn't overstay its welcome. Like there was a few scenes of it, but it never was like center stage, which is good.
And it just made for like good silly drama.
Yeah,
So I would highly recommend this movie. No, generally,
and I really like in this movie that Val Kilmer actually did reprise his role because he wasn't written into it. Val Kilmer being Iceman wasn't actually written into the original script. I think Tom Cruise was just like, nah, Val Kilmer's in this movie. Because it makes sense to the movie why Iceman is so integral to like Tom Cruise's development.
Yeah. I actually can't picture this movie working without him.
Yeah. He's like the center anchor for the entire character development.
Yeah, and I think it's like huge respect to him for showing up, you know?
Yeah, because he has got like throat cancer. So very cool, and it was great. And I think this movie is just fantastic.
Yeah,
it's like it's like you watch Marvel movies just because it's like action fun, right? I know people get super invested into it, but it's like Mad Max. I would say this is just plain Mad Max, because I've seen Mad Max so many times, but it's like I go back for that same hit, that same silly fucking car hit.
Yeah,
and I kind of get this on this.
I'd say it isn't quite on the level of Mad Max.
No, because Mad Max is special.
Yeah,
but it's like,
but they both do that thing. That I'm sure there's a term for it, but they like. It's almost more of a compliment to Top Gun, but they make like a world that you believe in. You know, it's like a world that feels real. And even though Top Gun is somewhat based in reality, it's also very far removed from it. Yeah. But you believe it.
So they don't even explain what country it is. It's just like they have a nuclear plutonium plant, blow it up, but the fighters are clearly Chinese. So it's just it's just like. But
that's clearly where they're going with it, but
they don't need to, though. They don't need to.
Because it's not about that. It's about
silly mission. Planes is literally all it's about.
Nukes bad, so planes good American military. Stop planes. That is literally my only problem with it, is the political aspect. But it's like, how else can you have a movie where the excuse is they fly fighter jets?
There's got to be an enemy.
Yeah, and it's written by Americans, so of course they're going to be like the good guys.
Unless it's like a sci-fi fucking creative universe like Ace Combat, it has to have some political.
Yeah.
Ace Combat has fucking its own politics in its fucking made up world. It's like you need politics.
You can't avoid it when it comes to anything military related, and like cars. Everyone has cars, has access to cars. Not everyone has access to fighter jets. Yeah, that's kind of like a military thing. Only you as far as I'm aware,
they're all American military jets. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Like, generally, the imagery is great. I would happily watch it again.
Crazy fact.
What?
That I heard from a relative of mine who works in the New Zealand Air Force. The American Navy is the second largest air force in the world.
Is the biggest the United States Air Force?
Yeah, I think so. How crazy is that?
Yeah, that is like funny. It's the same way like there was like a stat from like I think maybe early 2000s. I was like the like 10th biggest military is like Pepsi. Because for some reason it's like they did a deal in like South America, and they ended up to get paid. They ended up taking like military vehicles. They had like a really big army, and it was like, what?
That's what the plot of Top Gun should have been. Pepsi v Coke.
Pepsi v Coke.
Coke of the uranium. The Pepsi needs to fucking nuke.
But if you do want like a silly movie that is very real in its like
and just classic
real, it proves why action movies just stay like anti CG and do real effects.
Yeah, but also like just real investment.
Definitely would watch it. Out of the James Reviews scale, it's definitely up there with Mad Max. Like it's not Mad Max. It's not Mad Max.
Yeah,
but it's up there. It's a few notches down, and for that, I definitely recommend it. Especially if you get emotional over planes, like I do. Then it's like a 10 out of 10.
Or Tom Cruise when have you noticed Tom Cruise has got the sort of the like pug cheeks? You know, when he looks down, is because like he's masking his age with everything he can.
Yeah, and this is proven in the early scene. Kane, the Admiral Kane, is 71. He's 10 years older than Tom Cruise, and they're looking at each other, and it's like old man and like a teenager.
Yeah. But every now and again, you'll see like every other frame, there'll be Tom Cruise. He like looks down, and his jowls just like sag. And I mean, props up to him. He's 60 years old doing a shirtless scene with these like 20, 30-year-olds who are fucking ripped.
And he's fucking in a jet doing crazy shit. Like,
yeah, like...
He's the main character of this world. You know, get used to it. Get over it.
But if you like action, watch it. If you don't, fuck you and don't.
Go watch Marvel or some shit, loser.
Yeah. Puss you.
Dickhead.